song goes on from there. Exercise your right to vote. Exercise, yeah. Hello there, Nick Jackson, Criterion Collection Beer Guy here. Number 259, no, 258, no, 258, 258, Tanner 88. Directed by Robert Altman, written by Gary Trudeau. Definitely, on the Altman side, way better than Three Women. And I forgot to mention that about Secret Hunter last night. Secret Hunter definitely kicked Three Women's butt. I guess the problem with Three Women is that it's a dream that Altman had. Altman is not allowed to have dreams, but he can direct other movies, you know. And it's funny because it's like we actually almost had, well, Three Women was Three Women, but then we had Secret Honor yesterday, Robert Tanner 88, and then we got Fanny Alexander, and well, no, actually it's not for a while now. Those Shortcuts is coming up really soon. But we've also got Fat Girl Lives Without a Face and Fanny Alexander. So it's weird that they didn't bother, that they didn't get Shortcuts any closer to put all the Altman movies together. I don't know, maybe they didn't have the rights in time or whatever. So anyway. But yeah, Tanner 88, 1988, 353 minutes, long as hell. It is almost 3:30 right now. 3:30 in the morning. I've just been so busy that I just about finished it. Just trying to finish moving up the rest of my stuff up here, and yeah. So and then I had other plans, and I didn't get home by I got home at 1:30 or so, and so I was trying to finish up the last 2 episodes and all that, and so yeah. So I'm finally here. It's a little late night. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Although it's technically the 2nd, but whatever. So yeah, so I'm not going to say much about this because it's late, and I don't have much to say anyway. I don't want to sound I'm going to sound like a zombie. I may redo this one in due time because I may not be happy with it or whatever, but you guys can decide, honestly. But yeah, no, I like this one. I thought this was pretty funny. It's not really funny, but it is pretty funny. I mean, it doesn't hurt that, Gary Trudeau wrote it. Doonesbury's been relatively interesting over the course of its years. When I tend to look at it, it doesn't make me shiver or shudder or anything like that. But yeah, so Tanner 88 is a TV series. This is our 2nd TV series, I think, since or our 3rd TV series since Fishing with John, Scenes from a Marriage, and now Tanner 88. And it was 11 episodes. It was aired on Sundance or HBO. It was aired on HBO. Sundance picked it up in 2004, and they did a sequel to it called Tanner on Tanner. And for when they reshowed it on Sundance, they added new introductions with some of the original actors, playing their characters. It's supposed to be an update on what you saw and all that, It was really neat that they brought them back. So yeah, but anyway, about Tanner 88. Tanner 88 is about this political candidate named Jack Tanner, who is running for who's running for president as a Democrat. And he has this team, this woman TJ, who is the head of his political team and all that campaign manager, and his daughter Alex, who is really trying to support him, but also is a very, very outspoken, very outspoken kind of woman who, Jack doesn't always get what she's trying to do and say, and then there's the cameraman. I'm going to refer to the I'll just refer to the characters. So yeah, TJ Kavanaugh, Alex Tanner, Hayes Taggarty, who I can't remember for the life of me who he is. I don't know why. Stringer Kincaid, who was his campaign, the promoter, like interviewer. Gosh, I can't remember. It's weird. This is the problem when you like try to binge watch like anything, like a TV show. It's like I don't recommend doing it. You gotta savor this stuff. I mean, for some reason I think part of it. I mean, I got through uh, Scenes from Marriage pretty well because it was like just there was continuity, but it was so much more. There's so little going on in them that it wasn't hard to like keep track of what the pace of the basic plot. With this, Tanner 88, 11 episodes, much I think quite a bit longer than Scenes from Marriage or Fishing. Fishing with John is easy because there's like little to no continuity. You could take each episode as its own thing, with except for the last two episodes where was it Dennis Hopper dies or whatever, or is like there's that little continuity between the last two episodes. But anyway, Tanner 88, I'm just like, I think some of it is also the fact that I took time off today between episodes episodes 9 and 10, watched the last two episodes when I got back home, and the fact that it's really late when I watched them, so I was like, by this point I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, so Stringer, Emil Burkhoff, Deke Connors is his cameraman, and this film guy who tries to do all this artsy fartsy stuff with his campaign commercials, and TJ's like totally against it. Andrea Spinelli, who's this like kind of ditzy kind of assistant who runs around and tries to do things, but at the end she's like this really like she's kind of like TJ. She like models herself against TJ because she admires TJ. David Siedelman, who is I can't remember. That's the thing. There's just a lot of secondary characters. There's so many secondary characters in this show. It's not even funny. But anyway, yeah. So, I'm reading the chapter titles. The right answer is John Lennon. Yeah. So basically, the show is about Tanner, running for president, and he's kind of like he's this guy who's very like the viewers, the pollsters, like people who see him like don't know what he's about. He's kind of like this very vague. He's very vague on the topics, and he wants to be president, but at the same time he's like I don't you get the impression that you're not sure why he's running. He's very like I said, showy, and at the same time he kind of comes off as kind of a joke too. And it isn't until the end of the first episode when Deke captures a off the camera, off the script, impassioned speech that Tanner makes to his team about America, and they use that as his campaign commercial. They edit it together, and suddenly people are starting to notice him. And his slogan is "For real." So throughout the series, his campaign hits all these snags. I mean, most of them are hilarious. At the end of the second episode, it looks like there's an assassination attempt. This guy comes forward toward Jack with the knife, and it turns out that he's actually like looking for somebody who had slept with his wife or something like that. But apparently, because people assumed that he was trying to attack Tanner, which I don't think the guy even knew who Tanner was. He suddenly qualifies for like Secret Service, and so now he has these random Secret Service people wandering, following him around when he doesn't need it. I mean, he doesn't need him at all. And what else? Oh yeah, and then he ends up like screwing over his friendship with his friend Billy Cryer, this reverend, whom like Stringer sets up this media circus outside his church, and because Billy Cryer is black, like they try to out him as a Jesse Jackson supporter, because it's kind of hard to describe, but yeah, we eventually meet Jack Tanner's father, who's very much against. He's kind of like doesn't really, like, kind of fights with it. Doesn't really talk too much to Jack. And shoot, what else? Yeah, it's hard to describe. One of the better episodes is Child's Play, where Jack goes to these daycare centers, these kindergarten centers, or I think they're daycare centers actually. And he tries to talk to them about like tax abatements. It's like these kids have no clue, like, and it was pretty funny, yeah. Um, and yeah, and then and then also the other side story of it is Jack is having an affair, or actually no, she's not having an affair. He has a romance with this woman named Joanna. What's her last name? Joanna Buckley, who is a secretary who's running for who's a secretary on Mike Dukakis's campaign, who's his rival, and Stringer finds out after he is like disgraced after the whole Billy Cryer incident, and so he thinks about leaving Jack Tanner's campaign and moving on to Dukakis, and he finds Joanna there. And so one of the reporters like out them as a couple, and so they decide, hey, we're gonna get married, to try and clean it up. And so Alex, Jack's daughter, goes crazy trying to plan the wedding, but they call it off after Frank. I think his name's Frank. Frank Gatling. No, is it Frank? No, John Tanner. Not Frank Gatling. John Tanner, Jack's father, makes this really horrible speech that kind of denounces their marriage, and Deke by this point has been fired. Was fired from the campaign, and also rehired again or something. And so he tries to capture this the footage with the wedding with a helicopter, and like almost ruins the cake. And so Alex gets all upset. And so they decide to cancel the wedding or put it off for a while. And and this is where I kind of lost it at the end, because I don't know a lot about politics. That's the problem. I guess he decides to go run for the delegate, and as I don't. It was hard to explain the two last episodes, the boiler room, where we get to see Harry Anderson, who's great. He's runs this. Do something, I forget what it's called. It's he's running this back room kind of thing where he tries to manipulate the voters or something. I don't know. I honestly have no clue what it was about. But in the end, I guess Mike Dukakis eventually does win the delegate campaign, and so Jack's campaign is basically on the outs. Until they decide, until they realize that he could possibly run as a third party, and so basically, I guess they were planning on Altman and Trudeau were planning on making more episodes, but HBO decided not to run it to air anymore, or decide to pull the series, and so the show ends on a cliffhanger with Joanna basically wants him to endorse Dukakis because it would be the right thing to do to save his whole career. At the same time, he's also contemplating running for third party. And so the show ends with him looking at the camera, wondering what to do, and that's basically it. So yeah, I know that wasn't a great review, but it is a difficult plot. It's a difficult story to summarize if you don't know a lot about politics or how politics works like I do, especially back in the 80s, It's very confusing. I just barely missed the 80s. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. It's very funny. There are a lot of scenes that are funny just because, they're just kind of it does feel kind of Spinal Tap-ish a little bit at times. But at the same time, it definitely feels more like a Spinal Tap-ish sitcom. If Spinal Tap were a sitcom, this is what it would be. And yeah, that's all I can say about it. I think just yeah, that's all I can say about it. I'm definitely gonna get it because I want to watch it again. I think Michael Murphy is great as Jack Tanner. He's a fantastic actor, and I know he worked with the Altman in Nashville, which we'll see a long ways down the road. But yeah, that's all I can say about it. So we'll keep it short because it's getting late, and yeah, I've got to get some sleep because there are more Criterions coming tomorrow. But more about that in just a second. But yeah, Tanner 88, rate this probably an A minus. A minus. It's not. No, I'm gonna give it a B plus. Give it a B plus. Just some of the episodes were kind of confusing, and I shouldn't rate it a B plus just because I don't know anything about politics. Maybe you guys can explain it to me if you feel free to explain it, or just give me your opinions on Tanner 88. Do you think it pulled it off, or do you think it's just dreck? I liked it. Like I said, I liked it. And again, there were certain aspects that I didn't understand. That doesn't mean I didn't care for them. I was able to, it was interesting. I just gotta brush up on politics, or figure out what politics mean, So yeah, so I'll give it a B plus. Great series. Definitely, right up there with Secret Honor. It's great to see Tanner Altman doing a comedy, and Trudeau's fantastic too. So I recommend it for that. Yeah, like I says, this has the 2004 editions with the introductions that have Michael Murphy reprising his role as Jack Tanner, and what is her name? What's her name? Gosh, I forgot her name. Pamela Reed is T.J. Kavanaugh, and Cynthia Nixon is Alex Tanner. And yeah, and then there's a 20-minute interview with or a conversation between Altman and Trudeau talking about Tanner 88 and all that. And so yeah, fantastic stuff. Tanner 88, really funny. If you were there, if you were there in 88, you'll probably get this a little bit more than I do, but you'll laugh at it either way. So great stuff. So I actually just realized something. We're changing the schedule up a little bit. We're actually going to be taking some time off. I totally forgot that my brother, who you remember from Man Bites Dog and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and his wife, who you remember from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, they are coming up next week. And originally I was going to do, Eyes Without a Face and Fanny Alexander, but they're coming up, and I really want to visit with them. I don't have a lot of time because I have work as well. So I'm going to actually take next week off. We're gonna move everything down. We're still gonna do Fat Girl tomorrow. We are still gonna do the movie to Fat Girl tomorrow, and then we are going to hopefully do Eyes Without a Face next Saturday if my friend is available for it. Otherwise, we may take another day off. We just take exactly the whole week off. More than likely, he should be available. I don't think it's going to take us very long to do it, considering the movie's only 90 minutes. But yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll dedicate the week after that. Was it the week of the 11th to we'll do on the 11th we'll do Fanny Alexander, the television version, Wednesday the theatrical version, Thursday the making of, and then Saturday we'll do I guess Shortcuts. I think is after that. Shortcuts, King of Kings, Kejimusha. I forget what's after that. But yeah, so those are those. And yeah, so anyway, that's basically it. We're just going to take some time off because I want to spend time with my family. And if they were interested in doing, Fanny and Alexander or Eyes Without a Face with me, I would totally get them on board, but they have no interest in watching a 4-hour Bergman TV series or 5-hour Bergman TV series or however the fuck long it is. Anyway, so anyway, that's it from me. Yeah, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Again, sorry if this review was a little rambly, a little more stuttery than usual. Only I wanted to get it done. I did not want to wait until the morning to do it. And so because I feel like I'd have lost a lot more of it if I had waited even longer and gotten sleep and done it in the morning when I was a little more refreshed. So yeah, we may revisit this one. I definitely probably will revisit it when we get to if I I buy it and watch it again later, maybe later this year. But yeah, so for now, Tanner. I mean, like I said, Tanner 80 is great. That's it for me. Thank you for watching. Morals. We need morals. Shoot. Just don't be Jack Tanner. I don't know. I have no clue. Just don't run for president in '88 because you're gonna get smoshed by Dukakis, Jackson, and eventually Bush. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. We will see you tomorrow for Fat Girl. And until then, good night.